Are you looking for good board game suggestions? Are you John, are you on your phone right now? We're talking about board games, like interacting with people, being with each other, present with each other without a lot of technology. Well, this is the video for you. Maybe not you. This is the video for you. We're going to be looking at Christmas games that you can buy for your families, friends, whoever you're looking for.
All right, Dean, you ready for this?
Let's do this.
Woo! All right, so this is our holiday gift giving guide. If you're someone out there that's saying, you know what, I want to have some more family game nights or get some games for my kids, or you know what, all my spouse and I do is we watch TV together. Hey, I like watching some TV, but
who doesn't?
Yeah, but let's play some games. Let's have some interaction. Let's have some social interaction. And you're saying, I want to buy a board game. This is a list for you. All right, this is going to be.
Yeah.
Why did you look at me like that?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm excited.
We tried to pick games that are readily available. So all of these are available on Amazon for sure. Mm-hmm. Most of them are available at Target, or maybe half of them are available at Target, Walmart, Barnes & Noble. More than half if we include a Barnes & Noble.
That's true. Like that's true. We're trying to make them as available as possible, for sure.
These are games that we have played that have been huge hits while we introduce them to people, right? Like that's kind of what we're picking games that like, we're just pretty sure that if you buy one of these games and you try it out, you're going to be like, man, that's a great game. Let's do it.
All right.
Game on.
Let's do this. You're first.
Okay, so the first category is going to be party games. So a game that you can just easily play, I would say, and this is easily play with anyone. You got a bunch of people over at the house. You're like, hey, let's play a board game. I'm going to tell you about this one. That is so easy. You don't have very many rules. It's even called, what, Dean?
Just one. There's just one rule.
It's not true.
There's more than one rule.
There's more than one rule. But the game is called Just One. This game always is a hit, right? So what you're doing in this game is there's going to be 5 choices on a word. Someone's going to say, whoever's going to be the guesser is going to say number 3. And number 3 is going to be spaghetti. Everyone else knows that it's spaghetti. You have no idea it's spaghetti. What are they going to do?
They're going to write down just one word. And that can be red, it can be noodles, it can be pasta, it can be meatball. Anything you want to do, you're always going to have one outlier.
But what's the catch in the game?
The catch is, what if 2 people write down pasta or 3 people write down pasta, where you're going to cross off all of those, and
they're going to hang you by a noodle.
Only going to be left with the rest of those words that were not doubled up.
That's it.
So then you're going to try to guess what the answer is based on those clues.
It's a cooperative game, meaning you're all working together too.
That's right.
So if you know, some people don't love the competition. Some people thrive on it. But if you're in a game where it's just fun and y'all can just have a good time and Uncle Eddie's not going to punch somebody because they're frustrated because you won this game or the dice didn't roll my way.
Maybe you don't need to
have fun.
Maybe you don't need to invite Uncle Eddie.
Everyone can just hold hands and sing songs of unity and celebration.
Don't invite Uncle Eddie to your gatherings if he's punching people. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Great pick, though. That is our party game pick is Just One. So another category we've got is the social game. Now, this is a little bit different than the party game in that there's more interaction with the group that's involved. So with Just One, you know, you're kind of doing your own thing. The social game, we want to do something that is a lot more interactive.
Yeah, you're kind of like playing roles. Like you're playing roles and maybe trying to figure out who someone is or whatever.
That's right.
So that's what we're going to call social game.
That's right. And what better social game than when you become a werewolf or a villager or lots of other things in One Night Werewolf.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Now, in One Night Werewolf, you're actually going to use an app in this game, but it's going to be very much in the background, mostly as a timer. And you're going to have these roles that are assigned to you. You might be a werewolf, I might be a villager, somebody else might be a seer, lots of different things. And then you're trying to figure out who the werewolf is within this allotted time. And you can change that allotted time to whatever you want. You can do it in like 6 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you want. Then each game's going to be very fast. It's going to be super interactive. Cousin Eddie might not be a great person to pick for this game because he will punch somebody in the face when you accuse him of being a werewolf. At the end of the timer, you're going to have to vote on who is the werewolf.
That's it.
And whoever becomes the werewolf, whoever was the werewolf, they're gonna lose if they were picked. They're gonna win if they were not picked. A lot of fun. I've introduced this game to a ton of people. So right now, what if I don't have a huge group, John?
So we're swinging the pendulum. We're swinging the pendulum.
That's right.
I've got a huge group where I want to play the social game. 2, I just want to play a game with my spouse, right? Or my buddy or my gal pal. 2-player only game. A game that It's only 2 players. We're going to sit down and we're going to play it. Dean, what do you think we should play?
We should quilt some patches,
what do you think?
together into a quilt. Patchwork.
So this may be something that you're out there going, patchwork? This is a game about quilt making.
What?
Can you make a quilt making board game fun?
You're jumping from werewolves
to quilt making. It's such a swing, but this game is absolutely fantastic. It's not very heavy on rules. You're building quilts, but they're in these things called polyomino shape, or Tetris. If you've ever played Tetris, you have these Tetris shapes, and you're placing them down, building a quilt. Yeah. And you're picking these pieces and placing them down as you're doing it. Some of them have buttons, which is your income in this game, which is your way to buy to get more things, and pieces to your, goodness gracious.
Quilt.
That's exactly right, Dean. But yeah, you will be surprised at how easy this is to play, I think, and how really fun it is. Patchwork's a great game.
It's always been a big hit. Now, if you're looking for this one, you might see that there's tons of different versions of Patchwork. Just get whatever one you think is the coolest looking one. The original one.
$20 to $30?
Yeah, $20 to $30. Even less if you get some of those newer versions. There's also Patchwork Express. There's a Halloween version. There's an Americana version. Lots of different versions. Get whatever looks the coolest and then go that route. But you can't mix
except for Express.
Patchwork.
Yeah, sorry. Express
is different. Yeah. The other ones are the same,
they just have different themes.
Yep. So anyway, that is Patchwork. Now, what about card games? Everybody loves card games, right? Dealing out some cards, playing some spades or whatever, rook, whatever.
Pinochle, rook, euchre.
Any
of
those.
Kinds of games.
So we were trying to find some games that are card games that you purchase in the board game realm, I guess, that are a little bit different than those like 52, deck of 52 cards.
Yep.
We're going to talk about 2 games here because we felt like a couple different ones fell into this category. One, I'm going to let John talk about this one first, but what if you do like euchre, you like rook, and you might be looking for something else a little bit different, John?
I love rook.
Yeah.
And rook is still better than our game choice here. How about that?
Is that right?
A great game, by the way.
Wow, okay.
So here's the thing. Those games that Dean's talking about are called trick-taking games. If you hear the word trick-taking and you don't know what it is, that's okay. If you know what it is, you'll immediately understand what that is. If you know what it is, you'll immediately understand what it is. I'm botching some of this.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
But that would be, again, like Dean said, people that have played spades or things in the past like that, which are trick-taking games. There's a game called The Crew that has come out fairly recently, and it's even during Black Friday season, we're actually recording this, has been like $5 a couple times. Normally it's like $10 to $15.
You can get it for $10 right now on Amazon, it looks like. So.
It's a cooperative trick-taking game.
Yeah.
So if you want to sing Unity, where you're not competing against each other. I'm telling you, even if you don't like that idea, some people love competition. Like, I don't know, it's still super fun. You were playing against the board. There's like 50 missions. Isn't it 50 missions?
Yes,
50 missions for you to complete, and it's going to tell you that Susan's got to win this trick, and Steve's got to win this trick, and Dean's got to win this. And oh wait, as it gets harder, but you have to do it in this order, and different things like that that are really interesting. The Crew is a fantastic game if you're someone who's played those trick-taking games. If you aren't, it's still a great game, but it might be a little tricky.
It might be a little too much, potentially. Those can be tricky games. Again, a lot of people have played trick-taking games. Now, if you're like, I don't really like trick-taking games, it's not really my jam.
Or you don't know what it is.
You're just thinking, okay, let me have another idea for a card game. I'm going to throw out 7 Wonders, or even more specifically, 7 Wonders Architects. And either of those, I think, are good picks. If you're somebody who's like, I haven't played a ton of games, I may have played, Monopoly, may have played Scrabble or something like that, I really recommend playing 7 Wonders Architects, which is a little bit more approachable than 7 Wonders. In this game, you're basically drafting, so you're going to be taking cards. In Architects, you have a deck next to you on the other side of you, and then a face-down deck in the middle. And all you do on your turn is you're going to be taking one of those cards and then placing it in front of you. You're going to be taking your cards that are building supplies, and you're going to be building different wonders that are in front of you that give you points at the end of the game, give you special abilities. You're going to be building technologies, you're going to be building up your military, all these different types of things just by taking a card and playing it. 7 Wonders kind of plays the same way, except it's a little, the iconography, the icons on there can be a little bit tricky to understand sometimes, but I highly recommend both these. Both are fantastic games and very approachable.
7 Wonders is a game that I learned when I was introduced into board gaming as a hobby, and it's still one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
So it's one that sticks around for a long time.
Both of those you can find at a lot of different places. Amazon has both of them for sure, and you can, it is on the pricier side of those games compared to like The Crew or some of the other ones we talked about. Maybe around $30 to $40 to even $50 for some of those, depending on where you get it.
There you go.
That is 7 Wonders.
What do you want to play, Dean, if you like to roll some dice. What's a good game for that?
Do you roll dice like that when you play games?
I do like this. A finger roll. You know what I mean? Like
a layup, as it were. Yeah, so if I'm looking for a fun dice game, there's a ton of options out there. There's a lot of options. But one that really sticks out to me is called Sagrada. And this is based off
People love this game.
They definitely do. It's based off the Sagrada Familia, which is in a cathedral where it has this amazing stained glass windows. And in this game, you're taking these translucent colored dice, and you're going to be placing them into your window and building up your own little stained glass based on the color of the dice.
Stained glass could be so much fun.
That's very true. Based on the color of the dice and based on the pip, based on the numbers of the dice, you're going to be taking those dice and putting them into your window and getting points at the end of the game based on the different configurations that you have of the color and the different numbers on there. It's a fairly simple game, but there's a lot of strategy involved in this one, and the games change every time based on the different objectives that you have out there and based on the different tool cards that you have that allow you to adjust some of the dice in your windows.
Which can be super helpful if you're playing a game over and over again, that there's different feels to it every single time. Pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Really fun game, though. That is Sagrada. Has been a big hit with a lot of people I've played with.
There you go. How about games for children? Family games for children.
Oh, it's right back at me, isn't it?
So it's right back at you. So we have two categories we're going to talk about. Games that we would play, because I was thinking I've got children that are teenagers. I also have children, well, that's 8 years old, and that can be different, right? There's some games that we can play together for sure, but if you have, 11 under 10 and under kids, what's a really good choice for that?
Well, there's a lot of really good choices.
A
lot of really ones, and even going to a place like Target, going to a place like Walmart, there's a lot of good options there these days.
So we tried to pick one that you could get easily to, of course.
Yeah. So the game that I picked is a game that actually came out in the 80s and then was re-released. They redid this game a couple years ago. It's called Fireball Island. You might even be thinking,
that's got to draw you in immediately.
Hey, I'm a Goldbergs fan. I've seen this game. This game was released on the Goldbergs TV show, the newer version, before the game was even available for release. But in this game, Fireball Island, you're going to be exploring the island, picking up these different items and trying to get a bunch of money and all the different items that you're going to find. But there's danger around every corner. There's going to be fireballs flying at you. There's going to be, if you get there's a lot of expansion stuff with this. There's snakes that might be trying to bite you. There's tigers that are crouching in the bushes trying to pounce you. There's lots of different cool stuff going on in this game. But you're trying to gain as much of the goods that you can and then get out of there. You got to get back to the helicopter
out of there.
And get it out of there. This is a really fun game. The original game in the 80s was a lot of fun where you're rolling dice and moving and stuff like that. But in this one, you actually have 2 cards. You're going to play 1 card and then draw back up to 2 cards. And that's all you do on your turn. It tells you exactly what to do on the card.
There is reading on the
There is a little bit of reading, so I definitely recommend if you're going to play with younger kids, this might not be the best pick, like really young kids. There's other picks like, what are some of the other ones that we said? Forbidden Bridge is the one that's available, another 80s game that came out.
Llama was a big hit for my child.
Yeah, there's Chicken Cha-Cha-Cha, Monza. There's lots of other options, but I highly recommend this of more the family weight. But kids can play this.
If you're 6 or 7 and you can read, then you're good to go.
Absolutely. A lot of fun. That is Fireball Island, specifically the Restoration Games version.
All right, so the next one is Family Game for Teens. Here's a game, basically the game that drew both Dean and I into the hobby, right? That has drawn, might I say millions?
Oh, millions.
That's pretty strong.
No, it is millions, yeah.
Into the hobby, though. Into a hobby of board game. To where board games go into, instead of just playing it, once or twice a year, something that you're playing regularly. And you're like, hey, this is like a hobby of mine. We're going to go ahead and go with Catan. Now, in this game, you may think, this is about settling land. Like, wow. Dean and John, you're picking games that are super exciting. But you're going out and you're building settlements. You're rolling dice, and when you roll the dice, if you have like a settlement on that like hex space, you're going to get the goods.
Yeah.
But there's also trading back and forth. I'm like, Dean, I've got 2 wheat. What do you? Oh, I need some of your, whatever. Why can't I think of some of the other ones?
I need some of your wood, your wheat, your
ore
sheep,
in the game?
Your ore. Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
Have you played this game?
It's been a minute since I played it. Yeah. I've played the space one more recently.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to trade you. And Dean's like, no way I'm not going to trade you. And I'm like, yeah, come on. Well, let me give you 3. How about if I sweeten the pot with 3? And you're like, okay, I'll go it. Let's go. Game on. But this is just straight up a winner for folks who haven't played a lot of board games that want to get into something that may be a little bit more strategic, for sure. It's always been a hit with my family.
Yeah, it's the one that I still enjoy playing quite a bit, even after all these years. I've been playing this one for decades at this point, I guess. So
that's it.
Great pick, Catan. Now, John, what if I might like games, but I really don't like waiting in between my turns, right? Like, I want to play quick games.
This is one that I actually, an idea that I came up with on this, because I was thinking, like, there are people out there that, like, you really just hate sitting between turns. You don't like playing, and oh man, you know, Uncle Eddie. Oh, we're just gonna hate it. Uncle Eddie takes 15 minutes to take a turn on something, and Aunt
Andy's
Susan is just like, it's snooze fest while we wait for her. What is a game that's gonna have fast turns that boom, it's gonna pop, 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 pop? I'm just gonna dive into this. All right,
do it.
Sushi Go or Sushi Go Party. I recommend Party because it has more options. Sushi Go, under $10 generally. Sushi Go Party's around the $20 mark, maybe a little bit more than $20. But this is a huge hit all the time, because what's going to happen is you're all going to have a hand of cards, and you're going to pick from your hand, and you're going to lay it down, and then what you're going to do, Dean? You're going to pass your hand to the player on your right. Then they're going to grab it, and you're going to grab from the player to your right, and you're going to play a card. So you are simultaneously playing this game. And there is, the downtime is like very small, because while Eddie's taking his turn, you're taking your turn.
Yeah.
And you're just collecting sets of sushi, basically. Like, there's different ways to score points, but it may be like, if you collect, you know, X amount of this type of sushi, you score this many points.
Yeah.
And so that's it. It's really simple, very quick to teach, and it has been a big hit for people that I've introduced it to that haven't played a lot of board games, because like, man, this is so fast and interactive and fun. There you go. Sushi Go.
100% agree with you. Party. Any of those drafting type games we mentioned, Seven Wonders earlier, Sushi Go is a fantastic pick. Now, you got me interested, John. These fast-paced games,
okay, let's
like
go.
Things that are just like go, go, go. I want to hear more.
Okay, so the next one is, we're going to call it Dexterity Game, which you just use your hands. You know, your hand-eye coordination game is what this is. Some people are going to go, oh. But some people are going to go, no, that actually sounds fun.
Ping pong.
These are, yeah, I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about games that like
that's the pick?
That don't have a lot of rules, but it's just all about, like, you know, hand-eye coordination. And this could be something that could help, maybe if your kids play a lot of video games and they want something really fast-paced and really interactive that might lead them into some more board games. This would be maybe something that you could look at. Do you want me to go first?
There's go for it. You go ahead.
Okay, so this one, my pick is going to be like a $60 game. I know that this is definitely the most pricey game on the list, but it has been an absolute blast. It's called Clask, K-L-A-S-K. You can go and get it on Amazon. It used to be at Target. I don't know if you can get it at Target anymore, but it's readily available on Amazon. And basically, this is like a kind of mini air hockey table with a little more strategy than just hit it in, because you're trying to hit it in the holes of your opponent, but also there's these three things called biscuits, and it's all magnetized. So you have this magnetized little pong. Would that be the right?
I don't know. I got biscuits on the mind right now.
But if you get biscuits attached to you, get a couple attached, the other opponent scores. So you're not only trying to hit it in their hole down there, you're trying to knock biscuits into them, and they're trying to knock them into you. But I mean, the rules are simple. I can teach the game in under 1 minute. But there's definitely a lot of man, it takes some hand-eye coordination, but it's fun. It's a hoot. Clask is an absolutely fantastic game.
Excellent. All right. Well, another one we had for Dexterity is one that's a little bit on the cheaper end. We want to have one that's a little more approachable price-wise.
$15.
That's right, and that's Rhino Hero, which is about roughly $15, maybe a little bit more than that. Rhino Hero Super Battle is the bigger version of that, when that's running about $35 right now. In this game, it's actually a great game for kids. Younger kids like really young kids, younger than 5, might have might be a frustrating time. But this is essentially, imagine back in the day, John, you would take these playing cards, you'd stack them up, and you'd build these card houses and stuff like that. That's kind of what this game is. You're going to draw a card, and it's going to tell you the configuration of how you can play. You're going to have cards in your hand. You're going to play a card that tells you what configuration you're going to have to play the cards on top of the card that you're playing. So I'll put a card down, and I'll put cards like, 2 different squares like that, or 2 different corner pieces that form a square or something like that. And what you're trying to do is, and some of them make you move this little Rhino Hero up a level that adds a little bit of weight. It's got a little wooden piece, a little wooden meeple thing that goes on top. So if you didn't build it
strong, it's going to crumble.
That's exactly right. And that's what it is. You're trying to make sure that you can keep building, and not make the castle fall. Kind of of like Jenga-esque type game, except you're using cards. A lot of fun. This has been a big hit. We've taught this in schools. Our kids really enjoy it. We enjoy it. So that is Rhino Hero.
Sounds really fun.
Yes.
So the last category is strategy games. So we figured that there may be some people out there that are buying games, and you're thinking, you know what, I want something with some strategic depth to it.
With some meat.
But we're not picking one that's ultra hard or anything. This game that we're picking is one that the rules are very simple to teach. This game is Cascadia. This is a new one that's recently come out, and it's about a $35 game is what I'm thinking, somewhere along the lines. But it's really interesting because in this game, you have a choice between 4 things when it's your turn. There's a tile, and then there's a little token with an animal on it. And there's 4 of those, they're lined up, but you have to pick one of the pairs that are lined up together. And so you're going to take one, it may be a mountain tile, and then there's also an eagle or a hawk token. And what you'll do is you'll lay your tile down, and then you're going to take your token, and you've got to place it on one of the other tiles or the tile that you just laid somewhere in this vast terrain that you're building out. But here's the thing, only certain animals can go on certain terrains, certain tiles, not terrains, certain tiles. And it'll show you, oh, you can have a fox on this one, or you can have a bear and a hawk or whatever. And so you place your token on there. And what's interesting about this is with that simplicity, there's a ton of strategy because there are 5 scoring cards in this game that's going to tell you how you're going to score points with the animal tokens that you're putting on. It may be bears in a cluster. It may be hawks that are separated, and so you can't place them next to. So there's like, this game is really great for simple rules and yet a lot of strategic depth and a ton of replayability. Like you can replay this all the time because the 5 cards that come out are different, or in different configurations almost every time. So it's been a really big hit for the people I've played this with. So if you're looking for a strategy game that's easy to teach, we're going to say Cascadia.
Yeah, now this one might not be as readily available as going to Target or Barnes & Noble even necessarily, because this is more of a strategy type game. You might have to do a little more searching. There's some places like cardhouse.com, Miniature Market, that there's
Cool
different
Stuff,
online places.
Game Nerds. Like we're saying, let's Google it.
Yeah.
If you just Google Cascadia board game, you'll find a place to buy it.
Yeah, and the other thing is we wanted to mention Board Game Geek as a resource here. So if you're interested in board games and you're thinking, how can I find out more about these board games that are available, BoardGameGeek.com is going to be your best resource. It's not always necessarily the most approachable website, right? There's a lot that you have to wade through. But they've made a ton of improvements, but it's a fantastic resource for kind of going on there and saying, you know, what if I want to find a game that, you know, has to do with cats or has to do with dogs or has to do with, like, I don't know, restaurants or anything like that. You go on there, you'll be able to find any game. It has all the board games in existence, and that's going to be a great resource for you.
Pretty much.
Hopefully this video has helped you as well to find some board games for your loved ones. John, why don't you tell people how they can get in touch with us?
I'll say, to go along with that, you can subscribe to our channel if you want to. So if you're thinking, hey, this is pretty cool, and you want to hear about more board games that come out or more lists like we're doing right now, just subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to support what we're doing, go to patreon.com/MeepleTown. We're at MeepleTown Games on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you're on any of those. And we're Board Game Geek Guild 3407.
Thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our Patreon supporters for making content like this possible. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com/MeepleTown. To follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, find us at MeepleTown Games. Finally, to connect with us and other residents of MeepleTown, you can join Guild 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com. Until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.